Are you asking me about the tweet already? I haven't even started the stream yet.
You know what's funny is
Oh wait, now
now it's afternoon.
Yeah.
And I'm starving.
Of course.
But I did manage to get a cup of coffee. So now I'm like,
oh, me too.
I'm like in full freaking, butthead
Jittery
mode.
and
No,
hungry.
it's Beavis, isn't it?
You're in butthead I didn't want to say anything because I thought it would hurt your feelings, but you are kind of a butthead.
No, I think I'm more Beavis.
All right, here we
What
And we're live.
like that?
go. Is there anyone here? I don't know. Not yet. Let's wait for some people to pour in. I thought this headline would get them coming in, but apparently it didn't work. Oh, wait, here they are. We got Captain Future who says, howdy. We got Dipsy Doo, hey, y'all. Oh, Stephen Bird also has a very pleasant, hey, y'all, for us. I love all these hey, y'alls. And we got Chase McLean. He's saying, yippee-ki-yay. Oh, boy, I can't finish that sentence. Not on YouTube. And, man, you know there's like 6 or 7 Die Hard movies? Did you guys know that? It's almost as many as Nightmare on Elm Streets. They just keep making them. And most of them are great, too. The one with Samuel L. Jackson, not a good one. But then the one they did after that, I think, the one with Justin Long, that one was actually fantastic. I don't know if you guys saw that Die Hard.
Justin Long was in a Die Hard movie?
Oh,
Yeah,
you never
what?
saw it?
Was he kidnapped immediately and tortured?
Well, they were trying to kill him. That was like the plot of the movie, and he wasn't sure why. Then you later learn. So like,
Did he ever see the ads?
oh man,
Was it because he's a Mac?
well, he's a hacker, right? So he's like a really talented hacker,
Oh.
and he was employed to help build some system that these terrorists are now using to try to destroy America, and so they're
Facebook?
trying to. Well, it actually, yeah, that guy looks just like Zuckerberg who leads it. And so they try to kill him. I don't want to give away the plot, but Bruce Willis has to protect him. And it's actually really good. Like the interplay between those two. Because Justin Long does a really good job at playing like a little sissy boy. You know what I'm saying? Like he just plays that role really naturally. And then Bruce Willis is like super tough and has to protect him. But yeah, it was good. It wasn't quite as good as all the Intel commercials that Justin Long has been doing. Have you guys seen any of those, like those recent
I haven't
ones?
seen it recently, no.
Oh,
Yeah.
so they made some new ones where Justin Long is like, now he's a PC guy, and I don't want to dog. I don't want to dog on the guy too bad because everyone's got to make a living. But after being in the Mac ads as the Mac guy, and now you're shilling for PC, it's one of the cringiest things I've ever seen in my entire life. Like it just doesn't work at all. It's so hard to watch. But all right. Should we get going here, guys? We got a lot of stuff to talk
Not
about.
until you send a tweet.
Oh boy. Typical.
That's where I draw the line. Not starting without a tweet.
This is it. This is going to break the YouTube servers. There it is, Lewis. They're going to be poured in. Robert Fonte says,
I really
coming
stretched
from
with
Melbourne.
That one.
Good day, mate. We got Ulysses Martinez. Hey, y'all. My favorite trio. Oh, boy. Stop, sweet talker. All right, let's cue up Mrs. You-Know-Who. And let's get this show rolling. Oh, Mrs. D. Oh, dearie me. That little LK is looking very moist. Yeah, he's been sweating. He's been dapping all afternoon. He's been dapping it down.
He's been dabbing is what he's been doing.
Too much dabbing.
I'll be dabbing later.
That checks out. All right, let's go ahead, get these notes up here, and let's get the show rolling. Maybe even people will come and watch if we start talking about things that are important. Here we go. We'll find out. Hello, and welcome to CultCast, the best 30-plus minute Apple conversation you're going to hear all week long. I'm your host, Aaron Elijah. Join me today. As they prep for their upcoming March event, Apple is training their canine dogs with the sense of Stella Artois and old gym socks to make sure if he slips onto campus, they're going to know it. But the dogs are going to find out one important thing. He bites back. He's the founder of Cultimac. Lander Caney is here.
Hello.
Also with us. So dumb. Also with us, an anonymous writer from Cult of Mac told me he walks around the writing room shirtless with a pair of nunchucks draped around his neck. And if your story isn't out on time, those nunchucks are going to end up around your neck. He's the managing editor of Cult of Mac, Lewis Wallace.
Yeah, that was just the day I was doing the Putin impersonation.
Does Putin use the nunchucks? I know he walks around shirtless.
I like to take it up a level. I didn't have a bear to ride available, so
they're not nearly as abundant in San Francisco as they are in Russia, right? There's just bears everywhere, and they just let you hop on. You can just hop on, go for a ride.
When you're that powerful, the bears submit.
I feel like that should be on a T-shirt. The bears submit. All right, we got a lot of stuff to talk about here, and not much time to talk about it. We have some new Macs. I mean, it's all but confirmed, and not just one, not just two, but 3 new Macs incoming. So we'll talk about that. What else do we have here? Where did my notes go? They escaped me. And rather than just talk about what we're going to talk about, let's just do a quick thanks.
Let's talk about it.
Let's just talk about it, right? Let's just let me give a quick thank you to Squarespace for supporting this episode. Squarespace has everything you need to sell anything, and you can start your free website trial today with no credit card required. I use Squarespace to sell Cult Cloth. It's just so easy. You just build a website. You can customize everything and make it look uniquely yours. There's all these templates that you can choose from, and you could launch it right away if you want, or you can go in there and customize it without knowing how to code, drag and drop stuff all around, and make it look exactly how you want, and then launch it. And you could sell physical products, digital products. You could build a website for your business. You could highlight your skill set for potential employers. You could build a blog. I mean, it's just, there's so much stuff that you can do with it, and it's all built into your Squarespace service. So I always tell people, if you need a website, just check it out. Squarespace.com/CultCast. Sign up for the free trial, and you have 2 weeks. Build a website, see how you like it. And at the end of your trial, if you like what you have, you can keep your service going with code CultCast at checkout. You'll save 10% off your first purchase. And I do a year of service at a time, too, which gives you an extra discount. So it's a pretty nice little savings there. And it just works. Like, once you have it going, you can maintain it yourself, and everything just works. You'll never have to mess with it. It's just, it's a set as and forget it as you can get, which is what you want with a website. You don't have to be messing with it all the time. Squarespace.com/CultCast. And, look, they have a new discount code here. For a limited time, take 20% off any new website plan. Use FEB20WB. Expires February 17th, which is as we're recording this.
Whoa.
So I didn't even realize they had an additional discount there. So that's 20% off instead of the usual 10% off. Holy moly, look at that. So if you're hearing this on February 17th, I would act fast and use that code, FEB20WB. And if you're hearing this after February 17th, well, code CultCast will save you 10%. Yeah, sorry. Sorry, suckers. Also, Leander, going to send it over to you to talk about a new sponsor. Oh, yes. I know you're all shocked. We've got a new sponsor here. Right, Leander?
Yeah, it's Jamf. So, yeah, we'd like to thank Jamf for sponsoring this week's podcast. And Jamf is a device management system for businesses of all sizes. So I've been the family IT manager for years. I managed not just my iPhone, but 7 or 8 iPhones, plus all the iPads, Macs, Apple TVs, and my mom's devices too. She's got like half a dozen. And I'm always sending out passwords. I'm helping set up their new devices. I'm doing app recommendations. I'm getting them on Wi-Fi. It's a headache. So imagine doing that if you've got a company with multiple employees, multiple devices, and a reputation to maintain. So Jamf now makes it easy to set up, manage, and protect all those Apple devices. So as your business grows, so does its digital inventory, making it harder to manage everyone's Apple devices. This is especially true if employees are out in the field or working remotely. With Jamf now, you can check your digital inventory, distribute Wi-Fi and email settings, deploy apps, secure company data, and even lock or wipe a device as needed from anywhere. Jamf now is aimed at small businesses. Jamf has been well respected for major enterprises, but it's for small businesses as well. So Jamf now manages devices so you can focus on your business instead. Apple device management can be time-consuming work, but especially if it's not IT, it's not your day job. Jamf now makes Apple management device easy, so you can spend your valuable time building your business. So go to Jamf now. Oh my goodness. Go to jamf.com. Jamf.com, I beg your pardon, /CultCast. And CultCast fans can get 3 devices for free.
Oh, shoot.
And that's
really?
Yeah.
Get 3 devices. Wow. I'll take a MacBook.
I mean, for free. I mean, that's enough to manage a couple of your own devices and then like your mom's iPad or something, you know?
Well, I think you probably want to manage other people's devices, right? So three other people's devices.
Oh, I gotcha. So I can do my mom's phone and iPad and then my dad's iPad, so they quit calling me all the time.
Right. Yeah.
Nice. That's cool.
You know, it's well worth considering. That's Jamf. That's spelled JAMF. JAMF.com /CultCast.
What a freaking!
I'm glad you did that.
What a pro you turned into.
That out. Yeah, it's great.
I remember we used to do these sponsorships, and Leander wouldn't even say the URL, and now look at him. He's saying the URL like twice. He's spelling it out for you phonetically. He's like, that's like sounding it out phonetically. Like it's jaw. For people that like to remember it that way.
Well, that was my biggest concern, was like getting the company name right. Because I keep on saying Jamf, but it's Jamf, like Banff.
I kind of like saying Jamf though, that even though that's not the way it's not the way that they would probably say it, because it makes it easier to remember, right? It's like Jamf. It's like that URL is easy to remember, but yeah, you want to say it the way they want you to say it. Jamf. We got Sammy saying, yeah, Jamf is very popular. I think I tried Jamf a long time ago. I should give it another shot because I do have, like anyone who has parents who need their help managing their devices, right? It's like such a pain to do it. Remotely, especially.
Almost every day with my mom. You know, she's got some problem logging into Hulu last night. I had to help her with a Hulu login. She's always got, and she's got all these devices, and then she's always doing she lives her whole life on her iPhone and an iPad and a Mac.
With my mom, yeah.
But then everything is done through that. But then there's all these problems. So.
Yeah, same with my mom, and then she'll live with these problems for weeks until I see her. And then I have to fix them all in one fell swoop, right? So instead of visiting with her, I have to like sit there and fix her iPad while she plays with my kids. So I'm actually going to check this out and see if I can get it installed on her iPad and manage it remotely. That would be super helpful. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about 3 new Macs incoming. We've been talking about a spring event. Apple hasn't officially announced the spring event yet, the March event, I should say, but this all but confirms it. You're all familiar with the Eurasian the Eurasian filings that we often will talk about that Apple has to do when they're going to release new products, and we just got. Are they doing a wheelie, Leander?
Wow!
What's going on there?
Some color out of muffler.
It sounds like Mad Max out there. Jeez.
That's some poor son of a gun who just had his catalytic converter sawed off.
Right. God, that's so weird that is a thing that is happening all over the place now, isn't it? Like. Maybe we talked about this before. Like, why would someone ever want your catalytic converter? It's not like they're going to weld it to their own car. Precious metals and such?
Precious metals.
That's crazy. All right, Lander, 3 new Macs incoming. People want to hear about new Macs. Take it away. I mean, Lewis. I don't know why I have it in my brain that Leander's going to do this one. Lewis, take it away.
Yeah, so this is as close as it gets to undeniable proof, right? Apple recently registered 3 new machines, model numbers. You know, I'm not even going to read the model numbers, 5-digit model numbers, registered with the Eurasian Economic Commission. And of course, it says that they run Mac OS Monterey, which is a fairly big tip about what kind of machines they might be. ECC rules state that all devices using encryption must be registered before release. That's why they do this. So from the filing, you can glean 3 things. One of the Macs, model number A2681, is said to be a portable personal computer. You might imagine that that's a laptop.
It could be a Mac
personal
Mini.
computers. Yeah,
those are portable, right? I mean, they are portable.
No, maybe it'll be.
I don't think that's
robot.
what they mean, though.
Anyway, the other 2 are just personal computers, desktop machines. We've heard a lot of rumors recently about all these, new MacBook Pro with a next-gen M2 chipset. Bigger iMac, new MacBook Air, new Mac Mini, all these things, right? Anyway, this is just the latest indication that something's coming and soon, right? Because they don't do this like months and months out. It usually means like, here it comes. And for those who haven't been keeping score, the rumored date of the Apple event is March 8. Not confirmed, rumored.
Well, the new information here that I thought was really interesting is that in the Eurasian filing, the one that I saw, it was like in Russian or something, and it was the kinds of computers that we can expect. Like we had no idea. Well, we had an idea, but we didn't have any confirmation of what we might get, and then seeing that one is a personal computer, and then or two are portable. I'm saying this backwards. Two are personal
I'm just going to
computers.
repeat what I said, only in reverse.
Yeah, I'm gonna say except exact opposite, so everyone's really confused. I'm gonna start calling it the iMac Mini again too, so we can really make people confused.
Call it the Mac Eye.
The Mac Eye Mini actually sounds like a cool product. That's what they should call the mixed reality headset, the Mac Eye.
We solved it, the Mac Eye.
or what they should call it is the iMac, but the EYEMAC, right? Perfect.
Oh my God.
Wouldn't that be hilarious? The iMac. So, I mean, especially since it's supposed to actually have like the internals of like a powerful Mac, that actually might be the name. We might have just stumbled. Wait a second. There's a white van pulling up. There's several men with white apples and Apple logos on their clothing.
Strange headsets.
They're walking towards the strange headsets on.
Prototypes.
They have white weapons, white cattle prods. They're coming towards the CultCast command center. So what I thought was interesting is that 2 desktop devices and then 1 portable, which we've heard mixed rumors about. So we're expecting a iMac or a Mac Mini. I almost said it, a Mac Mini. But we've also heard that the iMac Pro is not going to happen until summer, which we can talk about here in a moment. So 1 portable, okay, but what would the 2 desktops be, right? If it's not going to be an iMac Pro, then we know we're getting a Mac Mini. Is it going to be 2 models of the Mac Mini? Maybe one that is not Pro? Oh, that wouldn't make any sense because they already have an M1 Mac Mini. So now I'm really confused. I'm like, what 2 desktop computers are we going to be getting? We know one of them is going to be the
isn't one the new big iMac?
The
the
regular.
delayed.
I mean, it could be. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead. What?
Looking down the notes, I mean, in the latest thing, is it probably the iMac is delayed?
Yeah.
So why would they register this thing now?
That's exactly my point, because they always register the computers right before the products right before they have to, right? Because they don't want stuff to leak. But if they're registering it now, that means they're getting ready to release it probably in 2 or 3 weeks. So now I'm really curious. It's like, well, if we're going to get 2 desktops, one of them's a Mac Mini. What's the other one? Is it a different model Mac Mini? Is there some kind of like Mac Mini model that requires its own separate filing? I don't know, because we already have the M1 Mac Mini. We know we're going to get the new version of the Mac Mini. So what's the other computer that they're releasing, the other desktop?
I think it's still the iMac Pro, because the other rumor could be wrong. I mean, it says it's delayed, but what if it's not delayed?
Yeah. Well, I mean, should we even go to that story? Let's see here. We had it later on down the list. So the iMac Pro, we've talked about how Apple is working on an iMac Pro, and there was a rumor that it might come out this spring, and then we had a leaker, like a pretty accurate leaker, say it was Ross Young from DisplayMate. Yeah. And he said that it was not going to come out in spring. In fact, let me just read this story. He was saying, where do I have it here? We got it somewhere here. I'm getting ahead of myself. Here we go. iMac Pro with mini LED might launch in early summer. So again, this come from Ross Young, who has a 100% score on Apple Track, right? So pretty good. Although I don't think he has a lot of he doesn't have a lot of predictions. So his score is high, but he doesn't have a long track record, I don't think. So the iMac Pro might start reaching customers in early summer, according to Ross Young. He reiterates that the all-in-one desktop will have a mini LED display, which is really cool. On Twitter, he said, quote, mini LED iMac Pro could launch in June. And is there any other quotes that we have from him? No, that's what he said on Twitter. Okay, cool.
Yeah, there's one.
Oh, there is? Did I miss it?
Yeah.
Where is it? What does it say, Lewis? I don't see it.
Some observers said no mini LEDs, but we hear around 1,000 zones and over 4,000 mini LEDs.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I missed that part. Yeah, which is crazy. Like 1,000 zones for a screen that small. I mean, there are some televisions like I can think of one or two Sony televisions that have less than 20 zones, and they're full, huge, like 50, 60-inch TVs. So having 1,000 zones, that's a lot of zones for one tiny little screen.
Can you explain what that actually means? Because I don't have any idea.
Oh yeah, sure. So with screens that have LED backlights, they arrange them into zones, right? So how many different zones are behind the screen? It allows the TV to make the black parts of the picture blacker, and
well, they turn off the zones,
right?
Selectively,
Exactly. Yeah,
so
exactly.
Really
So
black.
So they turn off the zones in areas where they don't require illumination, because the problem with LED backlit TVs is if you have the LEDs on, when the screen is black, it churns that black gray because it's shining light through it. So ideally they want them turned off, which is one of the things that makes OLED really popular, is that every pixel is individually illuminated. I can never say that word. Illuminated. And so you get yeah, exactly. So you get perfect black. So only pixels that need illumination are turned on, and all the rest are turned off. And with LED backlights, they can't do that, because every LED is illuminating a segment, a zone of pixels, right? And so if you have too few zones, the zones will that are illuminated might be illuminating parts of the picture that don't need to be turned on, and so you end up with like really gray blacks. Or if you have like a subtitle over a dark part of the screen, that light will bleed through, and you have like this halo effect that goes all around the letters, because the light is just too powerful behind that subtext. So it's good to have a lot of zones, because it allows you more control over which LEDs are turned on and which LEDs are shining light and which are not. So the more zones, the more LEDs, the better usually. Which is why micro LED is like supposed to be the next big thing once it actually gets developed, because it will have all the pros of LED technology in that it gets really bright, because OLED doesn't get that bright. And then there's also burn-in with the OLED. So micro LED won't have burn-in. It will also get very bright, but it can also, because they're so small, churn off at a pixel level. So you get really granular control over which pixels are illuminated, and they get super bright, but they don't have a burn-in like OLED. That was probably way too much of an explanation, but
I'm glad you did it, because
you asked.
It's nice to learn things.
And that so rarely happens on this show. So
Once
thank you for giving me the opportunity to actually talk about something. So let's see here. Yeah, so we're going to be getting a iMac Pro with mini LED, according to Ross Young, who has a great track record. And he's saying that it's not going to come until summer. So if that happens, it would probably be announced at WWDC, released later in the summertime, right?
But
you know, hearing this Eurasian report filing, it makes me think maybe we are going to get it in March, which would be crazy. Sorry, Lewis, go ahead.
Maybe they just do what they've done with a few things lately. Is like, this thing's coming, and it'll be here soon. Coming soon.
In June.
Yeah.
Coming in June, so they're going to announce it and then release it right before WWDC? Sure. I mean, shoot, it's possible. It's possible. It makes me think that actually is what is going to happen. Sorry, Leander, go ahead.
Well, I think that's more likely than the next rumor, which we're about to discuss, which is the 13-inch MacBook Pro.
All right, so let's talk about that then, since we're totally out of order here anyway.
Oh my
God! So to get back to Leander, why do you think that this rumor is outlandish? Because it kind of makes sense.
Well, we'll talk about that after. So the rumor is that one of those machines could be the first MacBook Pro with the next generation M2 chipset.
Yeah.
And this, of course, is the upgrade that many people are hoping for. So it's a new report, and this is from Mac Rumors, right?
Yeah, this is according to a Mac Rumors source who they say has been accurate before. So they've dealt with this person before, and that person gave them good intel, so they're reporting on this now again.
Yeah. Quote, reliable source with close links to Apple supply chain. Claims the device will be identical to the 13-inch MacBook Pro. And here's the part everyone's going to love, complete with the touch bar. And no display upgrade. So they thought that many will have expected Apple's M2 chip to debut in a flagship Mac that brings sizable processing and graphics improvements. However, it seems that the base configuration may be closer to the original M1. So although some performance improvements are expected, it is believed that the entry-level M2 will feature the same number of CPU and GPU cores as its predecessor, and it could debut in an entry-level MacBook Pro. So more specifically, the M2 is expected to power a refreshed 13-inch MacBook Pro that could make its debut at Apple's spring event next month. And aside from the chipset upgrade, it could be identical. Aside from the chipset upgrade, it's going to be identical to earlier 13-inch MacBook models. So the machine, quote, retains the same design as the current version, including the touch bar, but unlike the 14 and 16-inch MacBook Pro models, it will not have a notch or a promotion display, says Mac Rumors. So, yeah, I'm kind of like, what? I'd be surprised if Apple came out with an M2 machine before it's rolled out all of its M1 machines.
Me too,
And
because it makes the
touch
M1
bar.
technology feel crusty, right? It's like, wait a second, why am I paying you if you come out with a Pro machine with a M1 Pro or M1 Max, but now it feels like you're buying technology that's old because the M2 is also out. I totally agree with you. I think that's very weird.
Well, do you think that
Yeah,
do you
go
think
ahead.
the iMac Pro could be an M2 machine?
No, I don't think so. If it's going to be Pro, it has to be M1. It has to be M1 Max, M1 Pro. They can't call it a Pro machine and then put.
Well, why can't it be an M2 Pro and M2 Max?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Well, because they haven't rolled out the Mac Pro yet. You can't roll out an iMac Pro that runs M2 Pro, M2 Max, and then also release the Mac Pro, unless the Mac Pro is also M2.
Well, right. What if all the
architecture.
machines from now on are called M2?
Well, now that would be interesting. But that means they're gonna leapfrog the M1 for the Mac Pro and the iMac Pro, and they're gonna go straight to M2 architecture. That seems a little weird to me.
I don't know why not. They're kind of it's a marketing name anyway, right?
Yeah.
If it has the same CPU and GPU cores, if they just up the whatever it is, the hertz count or whatever, the clock speed or whatever, I don't know what other improvements they're going to be doing. But if it's essentially the same chip but just incrementally improved, why not call it the M2? Why not?
I mean, that's essentially probably what they're going to do. It's just increase the clock speed for the chip, and then maybe add like an extra core or two.
Yeah.
I still think that's weird. Like, to me, it seems like they would need to complete their transition to M1 before they start moving to M2, because they're going to add some technology to M2 that is going to make it faster than M1, obviously, right? But it's in some ways, I think it will probably beat M1 Pro and M1 Max. Like, it wouldn't surprise me at all if the single core speed for M2 was actually faster than M1 Pro, M1 Max. But in multi-core, it's going to get destroyed, right? So for things that have multi-core performance, the M1 or the M1 Pro, M1 Max are going to do really well. But the M2 might beat it in like select tests. So I still think that they would need to transition all the way over to M1 before releasing M2, because otherwise it looks like bad marketing. The thing about this I think is really funny, though, is if this story ends up being true, so the M2 or the 13-inch MacBook Pro with M2 comes out, and if they announce this at the March event, is that because it has the touch bar, it's a cheaper machine, right? So that means that if you want a computer without the touch bar, you have to pay more money. You have to literally pay more to get rid of it. Now that is funny, because when they released the touch bar, right? When they released the touch bar, they charged you extra for it, and now they're charging you extra to get rid of it. Now that is great. Is a great marketing move by Apple.
I've seen quite a lot of people on Twitter, loving the touch bar.
Well, the thing is, though, is that's just all of them. They're all there. So it makes it seem like that's like the general consensus, but those people that you ran into that love the touch bar, that's literally all of them on Earth, and they're all centralized in one location. So it makes it seem like there's a lot of people, but no, there's not. There's just that one group. They're all there on Twitter. There's like 20 of them.
Core.
Yeah. So yeah, go ahead, Lewis.
I think the touch bar's cool, man. I mean, I wish I had one on this thing, but I never found it to be a negative, except for when I first got it and I was always turning Siri on. That drove me crazy.
Yeah.
But Yeah, I mean, I don't see what's not to like about the touch bar. I mean, I guess people like discrete buttons, but I always thought it was cool.
Well, that's it. You just nailed it. People like discrete buttons. For some reason, I don't like software buttons. They're harder to access, and they don't have the same tactility. I don't know if that's a word. If it's not, I just made it up, so I want credit for that in the Webster Dictionary. But I like to have switches. I like to have buttons. Like, I hate it when car
not on your
manufacturers
phone.
bury all of their button controls into some kind of interface.
Yeah,
That's a good
that
point. I
sucks.
mean, there's a lot of software controls on your phone that I use, and that's fine. But imagine if, but they also give you buttons on your phone. Like, imagine if the volume buttons only existed inside of iOS. Like, that would be really annoying, right? So they do also give you buttons to do things that you do often, which is turn the volume up and down. And there's a lot of stuff that's buried within the touch bar, like the volume buttons, like the brightness buttons, that I feel like because they're in the touch bar, it makes them harder to access
You
because
can
I
set
thought
it
for
up
some
however
things
you
it
want,
was.
though.
I
What's
thought
that?
for some stuff it was really it was really useful, really handy. Like
Mhm.
emojis were great on the touch bar.
Oh,
Um,
really?
some
Autocomplete
commands,
stuff. Yeah,
autocomplete stuff was pretty useful.
to your point, I mean, yeah, software buttons like that can suck, but I thought that the touch bar was well done. I mean, it worked well, and you could change it out however you like it, right? I mean, I got tired of accidentally touching the Siri thing, so I hit it
Mm-hmm.
or moved it down the. I can't even remember what I did. I think I moved it down the bar, but I thought that thing was pretty slick, to be quite honest.
You know
but-
what? Maybe
Yeah.
I need to try that. Maybe I need to try. I did customize the bar when I first got my MacBook Pro, but it's been a long time. So I think I need to go in there and try it again and see. Maybe that will improve it. The one thing that I think that might have actually saved the touch bar, honestly, it wouldn't have made it perfect, but it would have made it a lot better, is if they would have added haptic feedback to it so that when you touch a button, you get some kind of response. Because
Yeah,
what I
well,
don't
maybe
like
they'll-
is touching
maybe
it and
they'll
it does
add it.
literally nothing, you know?
I wonder if they could add it to it. I mean, maybe it's too much of a weird form factor to add.
Yeah, it would have definitely made
Well,
it a lot better.
They got tiny little Taptic engines in all the phones, and even in the AirPods.
Yeah, but I just wonder how hard it would be to, because well, I don't know. I have literally no
It
idea.
is very long, so and thin, which
Yeah.
which leads me to believe that would be an engineering challenge, right, to fit that in there.
They could add it, but it's going to cost an extra $3,000.
How bad
So,
do you want it, y'all?
Yeah, Tim's listening.
Yeah. So anyway, I thought that was hilarious. I'm like, if we do get a MacBook Pro with a touch bar, I'm like, now you're literally paying more to get rid of it. That is truly funny. So we'll see what happens. So what are we getting at the March event? What Macs are we getting? It seems like we're getting this 13-inch MacBook Pro with touch bar. We're definitely getting a Mac Mini, which is unless they release an iMac Pro, that is going to be the most exciting thing they announced there for me anyway, because if you get the power of the MacBook Pro and that tiny form factor, and they will give you the option of like 10G Ethernet, like that's going to be a pretty powerful machine, crazy powerful actually. And I'm really curious to see what the price is, right? Like that's going to be is the price right? Is the price going to be right? Or is the price going to be wrong, right? That's what we have to wait and see. But that's the machine I'm truly excited for because, and I know I've said this before, so I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, but I know we have new people watching this show all the time.
Yeah, you've repeated.
Yeah,
I was
Leonard's
gonna
like,
say, you talked about this like I think on every single show for the last 6 months. So
Leonard, there's literally nothing that I could say about any topic that you haven't heard me say 5 times. So I'm not worried about repeating myself to you because you've listened to me talk
It's
for
the
like
three
probably like
3 new
1,200
listeners.
hours for the 3 new listeners that we have per show. The one thing I was going to mention is with previous iMac minis, they always hobbled them in some way, and this is the first time that we're going to get, I think, we're going to get a full-fledged MacBook Pro inside of a smaller form factor. That's exciting. Now, the question is, what's the price going to be? Well, that's what we have to wait and see. And then, of course, according to the Eurasian filing, what's the third Mac going to be? That's the question, right? We know they're doing a notebook and 2 desktops. What's the second desktop going to be? It could be the iMac Pro. It could be. That's the exciting part. All right.
Makes
Let's
all
see here.
kinds of sense.
Yeah, I think so. We've solved that mystery. We've sufficiently beat those two to a pulp. Before we move on, Lewis, would you like to talk about the giveaway? I think that you should probably talk about the giveaway.
Man,
Do we skip
this
anything?
is a hot giveaway.
Oh yeah, I want one of these very badly. Unfortunately, there's no link in here, so I can't go to the. I guess I'll have to do it the old-fashioned way.
You might have to just go to the Cult of Mac homepage. And
you know that I try not to do that.
Area
you know that I try not.
You and everybody else. Oh my God! I deleted the headline.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so I was telling Leander, I saw this giveaway pop up, and I actually had this product in my Amazon cart, waiting to make my, purchase. We're giving away 10 of them. 10 of these things. It's a 100-watt. Do you say a GAN? Gallium nitride. Fast charger with the gallium nitride technology. It makes it smaller, more powerful, etc. 100-watt fast charger from Ugreen, and it's got 4 ports. It comes with 3 USB-C ports and 1 USB-A port. The little charging plug where you plug it into the wall folds up. So this is like, the perfect travel charger. Yeah. You can charge a MacBook, an iPad, and a phone, all these things at once because it's delivering so much power. This thing lists for $79.99, currently available from Amazon on sale for $63.99. Measures 3 inches by 3 inches, so it's tiny. It's super powerful. If there was
nice.
ever.
They sent Tracy one, and I was checking it out. It's really nicely made, really compact. Like I said, 4 ports there, the foldable plugs. I mean, if we all enter, if there's 10 of them to give away, maybe we could all win one. Oh man,
I had what was it, like a little Apple Watch charger from Ugreen. I'd never heard of Ugreen. I bought it on Amazon. I think that's where they sell all their stuff through. Is just, I don't know if they're Amazon only. It said actually
there's a bunch
in the
of
post
companies
actually
like that.
said no. It said they have online, offline, but I've never seen it in a store, and I'd never heard of it. And I was a little like, I don't know, maybe it's okay, maybe it's not. But that thing was great. I still use it to this day when I travel. It's a great little Apple Watch charger and backup battery. Their stuff seems to be reasonably priced and reliable. So, as Irfan would say, enter. You have a pretty good chance of winning.
Well, I say that normally, and normally we're only giving away 1 or 2.
Yeah, 10.
So we're giving away 10 of these.
Biggest giveaway we've ever had.
So all I'm saying is, like, you're all but guaranteed to win this. Just go in there. No, I just about
compete with all the
everybody
writers.
Look, if you go and register, you'll probably get like 3 of these, right? So we've got so many to give away. It's just, it's basically just free stuff at this point. So look, I don't know what your chances are to win. All I know is that they could be pretty good depending on the item, because a lot of people, they hear something about a giveaway and they're like, why even try, right? And so most people don't even try. But your chances are pretty good. And now we're giving away 10 of these. So I would go in there and enter. I put the link in the chat. I'll put it in the show notes if you want to go in there and enter to win one of these. What I like about gallium nitride technology, there's a sentence for you. Here's what I like about. Well, if you're not familiar with gallium nitride, it's like the next generation of charging technology, and any power bricks that have it are smaller and also higher wattage. So before, a 100-watt charger would be huge, right?
Yeah, well, the Apple one's gigantic.
Yeah, it's huge, and that's because I don't think it uses gallium nitride. And these small ones that you can get on Amazon, they're tiny and they're super useful. And you could charge your MacBook Pro with one of these tiny bricks, like fully charge it, because your MacBook Pro needs 96 watts. Well, if you have the 16-inch. And this has more power than you need for a MacBook Pro, which is more power than a lot of docks have these days. Like, a lot of docks charge like 87 watts, which is not even as much as your computer needs, which is so weird. So, and with this, I mean, you could charge a MacBook Pro 16-inch, or you could charge an iPad and an iPhone and another iPad all at full speed, all at the same time. I mean, these things are really great. And you just carry one with the cords that you need, and you're set to charge literally everything that you have, except for, well, I guess you would need to charge your Apple Watch cable, or we would need to bring your Apple Watch cable. I was going to say except for your Apple Watch, but
I thought you would say except for your Tesla. You cannot charge a Tesla with this.
You probably could. You probably could, actually.
Like
it would just take exactly. You leave it plugged in for 2 weeks, you'd have like 2% power. 2%. You get out of your driveway and then you'll be done. All right, so go and enter to win. Let's see here. Let's move on. What else we got? Do we want to talk about these earbuds, Lewis? Do you want to talk about them? I guess we could.
Well,
oh wait, I
gonna
forgot.
Just
Chrome
hopping right
Flex
over to
next.
Chrome OS
Yeah,
Flex,
yeah,
man.
yeah,
You
yeah,
just
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
hop, skip,
Sorry.
jump, etc., etc.
Yeah,
Oh
I'm
my
jumping all over
god.
the place. Okay, well,
crazy.
let's talk about I'll send it to you, Leander, for Chrome OS Flex, because I actually thought this was a cool story, because I know a lot of people out there have old Macs and they're like, what am I going to do with my old Mac? It's so slow. And now Google's giving you a way to bring new life to your Mac. This was actually pretty cool.
it sounds pretty cool, and let's talk about it first. So it's called Chrome OS Flex, and it's targeted at older Macs and PCs. So if you have an older Mac that's not up to the the demands of the latest Mac OS, you can turn it into a Chromebook, and all you need is this Chrome OS Flex. It's an operating system created by Google for older Macs and PCs. So it's still in beta, and it's targeted at businesses and schools, but nonetheless, you can use it to bring some new life to your old obsolete Mac. Google paints a bleak picture of using old computers. Quote, slow boot times, intrusive updates, security add-ons, and burdensome management of legacy devices take valuable time away from your employees, students, and IT. It's basically the Chrome web browser extended and expanded into an operating system. And because of that, its hardware requirements are fairly minimal. Google promises that computers running it, quote, don't slow down over time. And they also stay up to date, provide proactive protection, and are easy to manage. So there's a variety of iMac, Mac Mini, and MacBook models that are certified to work with Chrome OS Flex. And among the older models on the list are a mid-2009 MacBook, the mid-2010 iMac, and the 2014 Mac Mini, which I think is really pretty good. I mean, I went back and looked, and Apple, like to Monterey, you've got to get Monterey running on a machine. And I think it's 2015 is the oldest machine that it supports. 6 years, and I think isn't that Apple's standard? Like they support machines for about 6 years.
Yeah.
So this goes back to back to 2005. I have an old MacBook from the 2005, and God knows what it's running. Lion or something, mountain lion, snow leopard.
It's the running OS Ferret, isn't it?
It's the funny thing is, like an older machine, if it runs its original operating system, they can sometimes be kind of useful, can't they? But of course, you don't get any of the security updates that have come out since then, so they're kind of vulnerable. I think this is a great idea, and you can actually run it off of a USB drive if you like, so you don't have to like wipe the old OS. You can just install this on a thumb drive.
See how it works. And see how it works, and then later
see if you like it.
Yeah, you can try it out and see if it's for you, and then if you like it, you can just wipe your OS. And I think this is actually really amazing, because I know people who, they feel like they're stuck, right? They have this older Mac and it doesn't work very well anymore, and they don't really want to buy something new, but it just keeps getting slower and slower. They can't upgrade anymore. And if you could inject new life into that old Mac, especially if you want to give something to your kids or something, and all kids do is browse the internet anyway, right? Like they don't need to be running like apps on the machine. You could just install this and bring new life to your machine and keep it going for who knows how long. I find it incredibly ironic, though, that it's Google that is the one that's bringing new life to these old machines and not Apple. And now here Google comes in for the save to rescue you from a machine that you would probably end up, being recycled or being thrown away, because it's what happens to old machines.
It's genius, really, if you think about it. I mean, if this takes off, they can get a big installed base on all these old obsolete machines that no one wants anymore. Apple's not going to do this because they don't want to undermine their own business model, which is to get people to upgrade.
Yeah, good point. Mm-hmm.
So I think it's really clever, and people do. I've never actually used Chrome OS, but people do like it, right? I've seen.
Well, it's really popular in education because the computers are really cheap, and I haven't spent a lot of time with Chrome OS, but yeah, if all you do is stuff online, like if you're writing reports and using the internet and stuff, which is mostly what kids do, then it's great because it's just really basic and it's really lightweight, and it allows you to get online and do all the things that you need to do online. So it might be perfect. In fact, my sister-in-law, they recently got a new machine because their Mac was just old and they felt like it was getting too slow. And if this had existed back when they were buying their Mac, I might have suggested they try it first and just see, like, just put it on a USB stick, try it, and see if you like it, and see if your computer works better this way. And if it does, you might not have to buy a new machine because all they do is use Google Docs and browse the internet. So now, of course,
you should test it out.
I mean, Google's going to be mining everything that you do for their right, for their
ad machine.
Exactly, for their ad machine and their AI, who will learn everything about everything that you do, literally. So there is that, right?
Right.
And
that's
now
a downside,
now not only are they controlling your browser, but they're controlling literally everything that you do on your computer and collecting that data and selling it to the devil. So there is that part. But if you're willing to make that trade, you get a free OS and new life out of your computer.
Years and years ago, I installed Linux on a Mac I had, an older Mac. It took like about a week to get it working. I could not, and I would spend so much time working on it. And then once I got it up and running, I'm like, okay, that's great. Now what do I do? It was just like, it was a huge anticlimax because it didn't make the machine any better. It didn't do anything that the Mac couldn't do before. I think the biggest selling point for this is like, things like security updates and stuff like that.
Yeah, it definitely helps having people update the OS for you and having there be resources for you to help use your computer and for apps and everything. So that's one of the reasons why I never went Linux too, because there's just too much tinkering involved. Like if you have the time for that, God bless you. But I don't. Like I used to really be into all that stuff, and to a certain level I still am, but I just needed to work at this point. Like I got 4 kids, man. I don't have time to be tinkering with my OS just to get it online and get it on the internet. Let's see here. Okay. Chrome OS Flex. If you have an old Mac, try it out. Let us know, actually. If you try it out, let me know. I'd be curious to hear what your experience is using OS Flex. Like, does it actually make your Mac usable? Does it make it feel faster? If you have a chance to play around with it, definitely reach out and let me know. Okay.
We should put that on that old iMac in the office that got, destroyed by whatever it was. I can't even remember some operating system a couple of years ago, and it's like
brought it to a screeching halt.
Yeah.
Huh.
I spent days on the phone with Apple support, and they're at the end of days. I mean, days of talking to them, and they were very helpful. At the end, they're like, "Well, I guess that's just what's expected of this machine at this point."
God.
Which is like, it doesn't work.
Well, sir, we've decided something. Your computer doesn't work, so we suggest you just buy a new one.
Yeah, wouldn't that be handy?
All right. At least you weren't dealing with Amazon support, Oh, my gosh. I'm not going to go on a tangent. Many of you know I started an Amazon store last year.
You just said you weren't going to go on a tangent.
I'm not. I'm going to just
give you I'm going on it right now.
I'm going to just give you a taste. I'm going to just give you a taste. I've been having some problems with some stuff in my Amazon account. And so as great as Amazon support is for buyers, it's the exact opposite for sellers. It is a nightmare hellscape of know-nothings and incompetence. It's truly one of the most unbelievable experiences I've ever had. Like, no one knows what's going on. No one knows how to fix anything. You'll spend like 3 hours on the phone with somebody from support, and they'll tell you what to do, and they sound really confident that it's going to work, and then you go do it, and it didn't work at all. They were totally wrong. They had no idea what they were talking about, and you wasted 3 hours. And I've had that experience over and over and over again, and it's gotten so bad that I'm actually questioning whether or not I still want to work with Amazon. But yeah, it's I could do a whole episode on it. But let's move on. Let's talk about let's at least mention these really bizarre but I think oddly alluring earbuds from Sony, Lewis, because I saw these and I have to admit I kind of want them.
Yeah.
I like the look of them. I kind of like the premise of them, that they let you wear them and hear everything that's going on around you, which is what I love about the AirPods. But these seem like they might be even more transparent than the AirPods are.
Yeah, I don't know. So they're called Sony LinkBuds. They're truly wireless earbuds, but they have supposedly good sound. But what's really interesting about them is that they have this open style design. Sony calls it an open ring design. You can see right through the driver, which is crazy. And it's just, I don't know if you can show people what these things look like, but
I'm showing it.
It's almost like two pieces of, or it's like two earbuds almost, right? And
yeah.
But so what's weird about that? If you scroll down that page, the show it in the ear. I mean, I thought that open ring was going to be right over your ear hole, but
Me
it's
too.
not.
Me too.
It's
Like when you look at this image.
I don't understand how it works. I don't
Exactly.
understand what the benefit is.
Me either. I'm glad that they include this image that shows you how it fits in your ear because it's really confusing when you first see what it looks like. And then they have this old diagram. Sorry for all you who are listening. You have to go back and watch the video, or just Google Sony LinkBuds, and you'll see what we mean. And you'll see how they fit in your ear. So it's like it has like this weird bulbous part that fits at like the top of your ear, and then it has this little like ring that slots into your ear hole, and then in the middle of that ring, it's just empty, so you can still hear what's happening around you, which I guess lets you have the situational awareness, which is what I love about AirPods.
But see, I don't understand. I mean, it looks like your hole is, or is it the hole in the middle of the round thing? Maybe that's what I don't know. It's a very strange design.
Yeah.
So
I think the hole does go over you. Does open up your ear canal.
Yeah.
I'm
It's
looking
like
at the picture.
it aligns with your ear hole, I think.
So and so the other thing is they just don't happen to have a ear hole in there.
Yeah,
in
that's the
diagram
computing part. Is it or the computing part? That's the confusing part.
about the
Is
image.
they're missing the hole, man. There's no hole. Where's the ear hole?
Right. Okay, I got it. So basically, they're jamming the main part of it up into the whatever that fold in your ear is.
Yeah,
and
I don't know what that thing is
so you
called.
do have a round. Okay. Well, so
Yeah.
now I'm actually super interested because yeah, like you, I like those AirPods. I like that sort of open situation, right? But if it could be even more open, that would be even more awesome. And who knows? Maybe this would make your ears sore the way that AirPods do when you wear them 6-8 hours a day.
Well, they don't make my ears sore, but I know that's a problem for some people. That's one of the reasons I love AirPods is because I feel like they just fit in my ears so perfectly. Especially the AirPods 3, like the new ones are just like almost perfect.
Oh, those things, I don't know, man. Like one of those, my right one fits good. The left one keeps falling out.
Really?
It's like it's weird. And like if you have AirPods Pro, like the thing you don't like about them is the silicone and the like. I'm in a soundproof booth.
Yeah.
Even with the noise canceling off, it's very plugged up feeling, right? And this is trying to get away from that plugged up feeling. These Sony ones, so that your ear can breathe or whatever. These they don't offer active noise cancellation. They have our take on it was kind of like they don't have any features. Their battery life is so like 5.5 hours or something like that.
Right.
No wireless charging capabilities, which is kind of odd. But fairly hefty price tag, $178 for earbuds. Which
I'm
we've
sure
gotten used to
the
these
street
things
price
costing
will
like
be
$50 to $100, right?
The
You
street
can
price will be way lower than that though, once they come out.
Yeah. Well, so what I haven't seen is a picture of what this actually looks like in a human being's ear.
There's a YouTube reviewer named iPhone Doe, and he just reviewed these on his channel.
Yeah.
And you can see them in his ear, and they actually look way different than let me see if I can pull this up. They look way different than I thought they were going to. They kind of look like God, what can I compare them to? Like the Google, is it the Pixel Buds? What are those things called again? They're kind of round, and they sit in your ear, and all you see is like a little round disc sticking out. Yeah, I don't want to bring this up here. Shoot. But if you go on YouTube and search for iPhone Doe LinkBuds, there's a full review that is there that you can watch, and I thought they looked really nice. I mean, the thing about these, like, it's funny because the story, it's really interesting that Sony went after this market, because in the story, you guys called out that they don't have active noise cancellation or wireless charging, but what's interesting is that Sony really honed in on the group of people who like to have open air listening experiences, which I don't know how prevalent that is. It's probably more prevalent than I thought because Sony has created this product, because that person is me, right? I don't want to have a closed ear experience. I don't like that. I don't like having headphones that aren't open. That's why the Sennheisers like HT600s are so popular, because they have like a beautiful sound, but they're also open. And it just creates a way more natural sound. I think that's true for the AirPods as well. And so with these, you don't need the active noise cancellation. It wouldn't even be possible because there's a big giant hole going into your ear. Right? But it creates like this open, airy audio experience, which allows you to have situational awareness, which is what I actually want. Like that is what I want. I don't care about active noise cancellation at all, honestly. Because if you have active noise cancellation, that means that you're using a pair of closed headphones or earphones, like the AirPods Pro, which I personally don't like having my ear holes stuffed closed. And then you have to have active noise cancellation to offset that. But that's kind of like a trade-off.
Transparency mode.
Yeah, transparency mode is great, but it feels artificial to me. I would rather it just be transparent rather than have a mode.
You know what? I got to say that diagram that Sony put up there and that's in our post is it's misleading, because I didn't really basically they've turned that big part into like a like the wingtip things that certain models have to hold them in your ear, right? So they're just basically they're bigger. They're bigger than regular earbuds.
Yeah.
And they, I don't know. It's weird. It's such a personal thing, right? I mean, like, does this particular brand feel good in your ear? I mean, they should make little like plastic dummies of these things that you could try out in stores, right? Because they don't want to let you try out a $200 pair, jam that in your ear. It's not sanitary.
Yeah, I would be curious to see how comfortable these things are, because I'm sorry for those of you who are listening. I have to show this as I describe it here, but so there is a little loop that comes off the back of them that is supposed to like press into like the outer fold of your ear, which holds them in place. And I just kind of wonder, how long could you have this in your ear hole without that bothering you, right? Or maybe it's so gentle that you wouldn't notice it at all. But then the nice thing is like the actual speaker portion, it's like a small disc that slots in behind that flap in your on the forward part of your ear. There's a name for that flap.
Yeah, we should have done a little bit of anatomical research.
Yeah, we definitely. I would come in my leather
frenulum?
jacket.
Is it called the frenulum?
You might be right. It sounds right. I don't know if you are right, but it sounds right. And so it's not called that.
It is not.
I think it's called the uvula. I'm pretty sure it's the uvula. So these little discs slot behind those little ear flap things, scientific name, and they don't actually go into your ear canals, which the AirPods do. And so they actually might be more comfortable for some people. I can't believe we've been talking about these things for as long as we have. But
cut the story.
When you look at these things, they just look so odd, and they're such a wacky product. But they also might be genius, honestly.
Well, they get good reviews. I was just looking up some reviews. CNN likes them, says it's really good sound, good, decent battery life, and like you said, that they like to have the ambient sound come in, so you're not totally closed off from your environment.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite parts about AirPods. So I kind of want to try these. Man, I need to reboot my YouTube channel so people just send me stuff. Because let's see here, Brian Tong, Captain Future says Brian Tong got a review, and let's see here. Somebody else reviewed them too. Oh, iJustine did, yeah. Shoot. So there's some reviews out there, but anyway, so you have a new pair of earphones to consider if you want something that isn't AirPods and probably sound great. They probably sound great because Sony earphones usually all sound at least good. Now you have a new option, the Sony LinkBuds.
Oh yeah. Sony's stuff is great usually.
Yeah.
Often.
So $178. You might want to wait till they come down in price. They'll be $149 in no time, maybe even less. $134. I see $134.99 in the future. $178 too. It's like, what's the price gonna be? Should be $150, $160, and it's like, what about $178?
It's not a typo.
I doubt it. On CultMac, get out of here. All right, let's move on to our final story here. I'll pass this over to you, LK, to help us understand the story. Oh, sorry. No, this is Leander with help from Lewis.
Oh,
in the show notes. Remember?
God, there's a lot of miscommunication going on here.
All right, so we're going to talk about Apple serial numbers on motherboards, I guess. So I would love to know what the story is, and then also why we should care. Who wants to go first?
It's the Apple One. There's a service called Apple One Tracker, I think it is.
Yeah.
Hold on, sorry. Should have done some Apple One Registry.
Okay.
And For the Apple One, of course, was Apple's first computer. This is the quintessential computer that was assembled in the garage by hand by Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak, their high school friends, and each one of them has a handwritten serial number on them. And this presented a mystery because both Wozniak and Jobs denied ever putting the serial numbers on. And also so did Daniel Kottke, who was one of the people in the garage who was assembling them. And so did Paul Terrell, who was the guy they sold these to at the bike shop. So no one knew who had written these handwritten serial numbers. And of course, if it turns out to be Wozniak or Jobs, this makes them much more valuable, especially if it's Jobs, because he never signed any autographs. So, getting something with Steve Jobs' handwriting on it is super rare. So this guy that runs the Apple One registry, he was so obsessed with finding out who wrote these serial numbers, he actually employed a handwriting expert firm, a firm that deals in handwriting expertise, and they do work for the FBI and other people like that. So they actually couldn't do it with they actually had to see an actual board. They didn't want to do it from photographs. They wanted to actually see the board. So he took a board down there. I think they have I think they're based here in California. And they also, and Daniel Kottke, who was like Jobs' old friend, he's the guy that went to India with Jobs back in the day. Had some he actually has some stuff that Jobs has written, some handwritten stuff, some cards and some notes and stuff like that. So they took this whole bundle down there to this special firm, and they actually authenticated it, and they said, yeah, this is definitely Steve Jobs. So
Steve lied.
Yeah, well, or he forgot.
Or he forgot. How could you? Whoa! How could you forget hand numbering your first line of
600?
There's no way. Why would he lie about that? That is so strange.
Maybe he thought it was beneath him. Tech visionaries don't take out a Sharpie and scribble on motherboards.
Yeah. Well, he was never shy about their roots. In fact, I think he was kind of proud of it. So it's odd, I think in the story they said, they gave him the benefit of the doubt and said that maybe he forgot. Which is,
I mean, it's possible,
kind
of... but that just seems very bizarre to me. Like, why would you forget something that significant, right? Especially when you did 600 of them.
Well, maybe he didn't want to do it for exactly this reason, which makes them, valuable because they have his signature on it, his writing on it. He didn't want it to become, like a baseball card or something like that. These sort of collectibles for reasons that weren't. For ancillary reasons.
Yeah, I think that is probably right because he was so unwilling to sign things, and maybe he didn't want people to go out and buy these machines just because they included his handwriting on them or something, which I find to be strange. But he had really cool handwriting too. Like the few Steve Jobs signatures that you do see are really beautiful. Like I actually liked his penmanship. It's unfortunately that he was such a pen recluse. Didn't want to give his signature to anyone. He's like
he wrote a lot in like E. Cummings too. Like he didn't use capital letters.
He didn't use any capital letters ever? Well,
I remember seeing a letter somewhere, there's some handwritten letter that he wrote with no capitals in it. Yeah.
Even at the start of his sentences or anything?
Now I'm doubting my own memory, but yeah, I don't think so. Yeah.
That's interesting. I'm not a huge fan of capital letters either, to be honest with you. Like, I oftentimes don't even use them. Like, especially when I'm texting people. Like, do you guys capitalize your texts or anything? Like, and use
not unless it does it automatically.
Yeah, same here. I feel like text just kind of did away with all those kind of like formalities. It's like,
geez, come on.
It's like, in fact, I think you guys should switch Cult to Mac and just don't even bother with that kind of nonsense.
We kind of have.
We've done it already. Unofficially.
It wasn't a conscious decision, but yeah, you're right. Maybe we did do it. We just kind of gravitated through that.
Mistakes, bad punctuation. Yeah, we have it all.
So many people. I can tell some of the writers are using, voice recognition to write their stuff because these, homonyms show up all the time. It's like,
oh man, I can't do that for some reason. When I try to use voice recognition to type things out, I can't actually. I just can't do it. I can never think of what I want to say. Isn't that strange? Like I feel like I can type it out really easily, but when I have to say it out loud, all of a sudden I can't come up with anything.
It's
I'm
weird.
exactly the same.
It's a weird experience.
I think it's a question of practice, isn't it? I think you got to just practice it.
Yeah, and the other thing too is like if you're doing voice, when you make a mistake, it's like impossible to fix. Like how do you fix it with voice? They must have software that can do that.
Well, yeah. I mean, and they make software that's better than your iPhone at it. But yeah, it's
Well, that's not
totally
hard to
true.
believe.
Yeah. Oh my God, it just keeps getting
It's
worse.
so bad, isn't it?
It's
It
annoying
truly is.
as can be.
Yeah, it's
the
horrible.
the changing from the right thing to the completely wrong thing, just as I press enter, that drives me absolutely
And it
batty.
happens all the time.
Yeah,
There's
it's
got to be a way to
amazing.
fix that, Lewis. If it's getting it right the first time,
Yeah, get rid of Siri. Get rid of the person who runs Siri at Apple. You know, get somebody who uses it to actually fix it.
Yeah, it is
There's
bizarre, isn't it? Because it's been going on for so long.
I mean, you know, and there are things like with the autocomplete, right? Like, I mean, my name is Lewis. Half the time, especially at the first, I first get it. It's like spelling my name wrong over and over and over. Okay, well, maybe, but then after it finally starts spelling my name right, and then it's like, what could possibly be coming next in this sentence? Especially if I type the first letter of my last name, a capital. What could possibly be next? You know, Wilkins, you know, every other name but Wallace. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't understand how it's supposed to be smart because it seems willfully stupid.
Yeah, and the M1 Max has like 16 neural engine cores. How can you have that many cores and still not know how to construct a sentence? Like, shouldn't some of those cores be used for machine learning so that when you're correcting your name and making changes, it remembers those changes, and so next time it doesn't make the same mistakes? It's like every time you talk to Siri, it's a first-time experience. It has no idea who you are, has no idea what your cadence is, no idea what kind of words you often will use, and so every time is a guess, and it just completely guesses wrong. It seems like it should be storing up some kind of database of natural language, and it should know that when I say a person's name, it should remember the names that I've used before and spell them correctly, right? Refer to people correctly, and it doesn't do that. It's really frustrating.
I mean,
They should just scrap it and just move Alexa in. Alexa
so many
is
times,
unbelievably good.
so many times I put in, you know, SAN space. I live in San Francisco. What? Let's take a wild guess. You got 1 in 26 chances. What's the ideal first guess at what the next letter is?
Yeah, right.
G, D. Yeah, it's crazy. It's just crazy.
And it comes up with really bizarre substitutions. It will create words that no one uses in natural language.
Right.
You know, it'll be like happy birthday, and then right before you hit send, it changes happy to hemorrhoid. It's like hemorrhoid birthday. No one speaks
crazy.
that way, but LK.
So I'm just looking up here like how to train it. There's different ways to train it. You can train it on names and stuff, and I think you can do in the contacts app. You can tell it how to pronounce certain names, but I don't know if you can train it to like correct spellings, misspellings.
It's too challenging.
There's something about you know, you can always like tap it, right? Like if you put in, like, let's say you put in a proper name of some company that has a weird name, right?
Yeah.
You can select that as a thing, and that's supposed to cement it. Like, okay, now it knows to do this. I've done that. I still have it sometimes not get that name of that thing, and I, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that there's no way that you can go in and tweak the actual dictionary that you're building up. You can get rid of the whole thing, but you can't just, you know, change a word.
That's interesting.
Yeah. At least that's the way it was the last time I checked. You know, I've gotten so used to it being horrible. I don't spend a lot of time trying to figure out how to fix it.
Yeah, that would be really useful. Mm-hmm.
When you're conversing with Siri and the software does not quite get one of your requests right, touch the tap to edit link and type in the corrected version of your command or question, and then it'll get it.
See, I do that all the time though, and I feel
say
like
that.
Yeah, I don't feel like it improves the sentence in the moment, but then going forward, I don't feel like it improves it in any way. It would be nice to change it. It's just so drastically different than Alexa. Like Alexa, its ability to understand people and to bring you back correct answers is really pretty astounding. Like Alexa will understand my kids, like their squeaky little kid voices. Like they'll say Echo, and it activates. It knows that its name's being invoked, and they'll ask it a question that, in some instances, are in kid language,
Kid
right?
speak?
Yeah, kid speak. Like it's hard to understand, and sometimes adults I think would have a hard time understanding them. And it knows what they're saying and goes out and gets the answers for them. And you could ask it the most obscure questions, and it always somehow brings the right answers back. It's just it's a whole different level of AI than what Apple possesses. Like it actually is useful.
Yeah. I mean, Apple has all these privacy concerns, right? They're doing this all on device, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But, at some point you got to say, well, geez, how can you be so stupid? How can you accurately recognize, the name of my wife, and then as I press send, change it to another person's name?
Change it to another woman.
Yeah. Thanks.
I love you, Barbara.
That went over great on Valentine's Day.
How many divorces and marriage counselings did Siri mistakes cause in this country? That's what I want to know. Dear Barbara, no. He goes to your wife. All right, look. Guess what I'm going to do right now, Lewis?
Dum, 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 dum.
It's time. How long have we been going?
Good God, about 25 years.
An hour and 25 years. All right, let's go ahead and wrap it up there, guys. That's all the CultCast that we can muster for this week. But I know what you're thinking. You're like, no.
Did you say mustard?
That's all the CultCast we can muster this week. If you want to have the parlay continue, we're all on Flitter. You can go find us. I'm at Erfon, ERGHRON. Leander is at Elkaney. This is at Lewis Wallace. This has been the what did I say before? I didn't even realize I said that. This has been the CultCast, the best 30+ minute Apple conversation you're gonna hear all week long. New episodes of the CultCast come out every Thursday night. I want to thank everyone for listening and for listening in live, and we will see you guys flex time. Are we going to say nothing as the show plays out here? No? We're going to sit in silence, Lewis?
I'm afraid that I'll be recognized.
Okay, well. Everyone have a great weekend. Look at that. We gave you guys like an extra 12 minutes this week, I think. It's pretty good. That's pretty good for a free show.
I like looking at these pictures of these old motherboards with the handwriting on them.
Actually pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, pretty wild.
All right, I'm hovering over the end stream button as we speak. Bye, y'all.